welcome back to a brand new episode of Kidder Street Noise, and it has been a while since our last episode.
It's been a few weeks, and when was the last one? I can't even remember. It's
Oh yeah,
been. I reckon it's been a month.
yeah, probably like 3 to 4 weeks, definitely.
Yeah.
It's been a while, and we just not that we've not had a lot to talk about because a lot of things have happened, but we felt like we were saying the same things.
Yeah, a little bit, and I think I was thinking as well. Let's just see how the run of games that we've just been on pans out. Because a lot of people are saying we'll know a lot more about Rovers after these games, so I think there's a bit of that as well. But yeah, I mean, you can only make the same point so many times, even though we're going to go over some in this episode. But yeah, I think it's those two things combined, really.
Yeah, we've had I think it probably was the last international break that we did a podcast, and I can't believe we're already at another international break.
England play last international break, or got beat by Greece, didn't we? Yeah, so yeah, it's probably. Yeah, I think it was around then, wasn't it? You are.
Who's we? So it could be a different episode tonight. We're not going to talk about like recent results. We'll touch on it, but the title of the episode is "Angel Investor Names You as Rovers CEO." So the idea of the podcast episode is that someone's took over Rovers, an angel investor, we don't know who, and they've named me and Lewis, or me or Lewis, as CEO, and we're going to discuss the things that we would implement at the club, the changes that we would make. I don't think any of us have talked about staff changes, have we?
No, I did think about including one staff change in mine, but I didn't. No, I thought about really making the experience better as a fan. That was like that's the whole kind of theme of mine.
Yeah.
But I did definitely think about one member of staff in particular who has received criticism.
Plenty.
Yeah, in this podcast.
The Ben Benson wall shot.
Yeah.
I mean, I in particular was very anti-Eustace last season. If I was to be named CEO tomorrow, would I replace him? No, probably not. I think there's bigger issues at the club than who just manages a team and who plays on the pitch. I feel like I think he's doing a good job with the tools he's been given. So we didn't really mention any staff changes. It's all to do with how the club is run, which I think a lot of people point fingers and say the manager's not doing well, this manager would do better, but we want to actually long-term future, 5-year plan of the club, what we would change. But first things first, we'll recap on the football. So this month had some poor performances at home.
Yeah, definitely.
Is that harsh?
No, I don't think it is.
The West Brom game is probably the worst one.
Yeah.
And who was the 0 shot on target? That was Sheffield United.
Yeah.
Obviously, they're having a great season. If it wasn't for the 2-point deduction, they'd be top of the league. The Stoke game probably the killer, like in terms of mood.
Yeah, I mean, there's probably one thing that frustrates you more than Rovers not playing well, and that's Rovers playing well and not getting anything from it, and it being their own fault, really. Especially with the mistake for the second goal as well. That's just, there's no excuse for it, is there?
Yeah, I mean, he's not really passed it back to Bath, he's not really passed it back to Pers, and it's just, I mean, I think because of the trajectory of the pass initially, Bath think it's going back to Pers, so he's not switched on it. Yeah, it's just
that's a day's goal, really.
Yeah, it's just a bit of a mess, and but like you said, it's the club's own fault. Should Danny Bath be playing this early into the season, although he's performed all right, like we've lost. Scott Wharton was in the last season when we lost him. Carter's obviously got injured, so we'd probably had more depth at centre back than Danny Bath and McFadden. I mean, it's all in hindsight. We have more depth. But we turned it around on Saturday. We turned the form around, especially like beating Cardiff 3-1 away, which was unexpected. But
it was a very solid win, and I thought really we just carried on, the way we were going in midweek, but actually found the back of the net. yeah, we looked pretty confident, played some good stuff, and yeah, the well, I was going to say the first thing, well, all three goals because of Baker's finish were of a really good standard. I thought.
Yeah, Baker's a good finish. I've looked back on it since the tweet where I said that's a lovely finish, and I think the keeper has been done by the bounce a little bit. I think he
Yeah,
bounces just in front of him and puts him on.
but I think he's almost tried to do that though as well. So you've got to give
Yeah,
him, you
yeah,
know, he's tried to get as much pace on it as possible to deceive him a little bit, and yeah, I thought it was a great goal,
yeah,
and the build up to the first two as well.
yeah.
Yeah,
I want to talk about Travis's
fantastic.
involvement in them because he doesn't really get credit for his final third stuff, but sort of weighted passes through to Pickering, the second one. Who was the first one? Oh no, it's Travis that plays it across the Miami to score the
Yeah,
first,
yeah,
isn't it? So he doesn't really get much credit for his final third stuff, but he is actually quite tidy in those areas, apart from his shooting, right? But yeah, a great win. So 6 wins we've got this season. Got Cardiff, Oxford, and Derby are obviously the two promoted teams. Derby doing particularly well. Oh no, it's not Derby that's doing well. It's Oxford that's doing well, isn't it?
yeah, I think so.
And it's
We got Taylor out.
It's Portsmouth, the other relegated team.
Yeah, Oxford are going all right on 16. So.
I mean, Derby are flying in 12th. It's Portsmouth, the other
Yeah,
promoted team that are
they're
struggling.
struggling.
Who else have we beaten? Um,
We beat Swansea, didn't we, at home? 1-0. That
yeah,
was a pretty drab game.
yeah, they're 11. Who were our other home wins against?
Derby, Oxford, Bristol City.
Yeah,
Bristol City.
they're just below us in 10th. I think. But yeah, we've drawn with Burnley, drawn with West Brom, got beat off Sheffield United, yet to play Leeds. Oh no, we got beat off Watford with a penalty. I think we're quite unlucky against Watford. So we are, and I think the middle of the pack is where we eventually will even
Yeah,
out to be. Like we're beating the teams around us, and like sometimes they're beating us, or we're getting draws. It's just when we get towards the latter end of the season, we start picking up bad results. I mean, like you look at where Plymouth are, result against them, and then Coventry are having a terrible season. Obviously, just sacked Robbins. Like the 3-0 loss against them
yeah.
is made even worse now by how they're running. So I just think silly results there. We just need to pick up a couple shocking good wins against the top teams in the league, and then eventually even out.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think it's tough to predict at the minute what's going to happen with Rovers for the rest of the season because the way they played on Saturday at Cardiff, if you can continue that in a run for 4 or 5 games a couple of times between now and the end of the season, then you might end up high, but you just can't
Yeah,
really hang your hat on that happening
I mean,
because of the games where they play like that and don't get anything from it like midweek, against Stoke. So
they have just dropped into relegation zone Cardiff. We do play Portsmouth at home soon, so you expect us to beat them.
yeah, well, you've got to really.
Yeah,
Portsmouth came through with him and we didn't beat him with how they've started.
yeah. So I think it's just it's winning the games that I know football doesn't work like that, and especially Championship doesn't work like that. Winning the games you're expected to win that put you in the position that you should be in,
Yeah,
really. But before I round off the football recap, I want to talk about the Remember This Sunday antics because it's really annoyed me. Like yes, is it Monday today? Yeah,
yeah. Remember this today.
yeah. Remember This Day today. The games this weekend, and it's just the coverage has annoyed me. But obviously, the behaviour annoys me as well, but the coverage has annoyed me. I just feel like if you don't give them the airtime and don't give the media articles, I think James McLean is an absolute golden egg for newspaper articles and sports journalist sites like that. Because as soon as he does something around this time of year, every
What you
article
said about sports journals?
no, you know what I mean. Like these websites are popping on Twitter with these articles about James McLean not wearing and doing what he did, like standing away from minute silence and stuff. And listen, I know why he doesn't wear the poppy, and I almost respect him for it. That is like standing up for his views and he's sticking by them, whatever. And I think part of the freedom that they fought for is that people should be allowed to express their opinions, but he's made his decision, he's explained it. Just leave him now.
Yeah,
Don't even speak about it because standing away from the minute silence. I understand that we're in the poppy, but you're just shining a light on yourself, and then when the negative press comes to you, and then you moan about the negative press, it just annoys me. And then the people that hate him read it. I mean, I know it's almost like a cash generator for.
yeah. It's because it's something that people feel passionate about. It's always it's controversial, and it's always going to create conversation. Yeah, it sells. It's always going to create conversation, and it's always going to encourage clicks.
Yeah.
So that's why it's done. It's unfortunately it's always going to get because it's different from the norm as well. You know, like with the Celtic fans yesterday booing through the minute silence. You know, 99.9% of other clubs like don't do anything like that. So it's different from the norm. So it's always going to be seen as news, I suppose.
Yeah, I just think the world would be a much better place if they just didn't show it. Honestly,
Mm.
the next time Celtic play on Remembrance Sunday, like put them away at Ross County, where there's the smallest away following they can have, and then as soon as the players come out of the tunnel, just go to an advert and then come back to the game when it kicks off. Just ignore all of it. There will be people watching Sky Sports yesterday, waiting for what Celtic are going to do or what the fans are going to do during that minute silence, and it's almost like people enjoy being riled up by it. I just think that's not the way to be in such like a poignant moment. You know what I mean? We should be celebrating the teams that have done amazing displays and obviously all the people that are pronounced on the pitch to lay the wreaths and stuff. We should be celebrating those people. And I feel like every year the media and the news. I know it's not them doing the antics. It's these people, but just report on the good stuff and like spread a bit of positivity. And that's just my opinion on it.
I mean, I don't want to go into it too deeply or anything, but it is wrong what Celtic did yesterday for me.
Yeah,
You know, there were a lot of Irish people that that laid down their lives in the First World War, and to me, I mean, there's been a lot of wrong on both sides over the years, and it's in the past now, and we should remember those that sacrificed.
I mean, there's probably 95% of that away end that are probably have less Irish heritage now. Probably like a couple of generations that have been in Glasgow that will have loads of family members that fought in the First and Second World War, and we'll have loads of people that died in those wars, and still probably a lot of Celtic fans that go and represent the British Army now.
Mm.
But I feel like because they're given this stage to represent the views every year on telly for Remembrance Sunday, they're almost like playing up to it. Where I think it only take two
Just
or
to be
three,
edgy,
yeah, and it only take 2 or 3 seasons where right for the minute silence, and I don't even mean just Remembrance Sunday, any minute silence where it might potentially not be respected by the opposition or whoever's there supposed to be actually participating in it. Just come out the tunnel. Yeah, we're back after the adverts. 2 or 3 adverts. As soon as players are ready to kick off, obviously the refs have it in their ear, knowing that when Sky cameras are ready, they can blow the whistle.
Mm.
Come back to the game, and then obviously the home fans don't record it, don't take any pictures of it. If you see it on social media, just block them, report them. Don't share anything negative about it, and in 3 years it'll go away.
Yeah,
because they'll just get bored of doing it because they know that they're not really sending a message because no one's seen it.
there was a really good discussion this morning on Five Live's phone in about the poppy and remembrance, and a lot of like contrasting views, and a lot of people saying what it means to them, and I think now there's a bigger acceptance that the right to wear the poppy and engage in remembrance is also the right not to. But I think regardless of the stance you take, you should show respect for it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And that's exactly where I see myself. Where I respect the people who choose not to wear it and I respect their opinion for doing so. But again, it's once a year for 2 minutes.
Mm.
Right? You can't show respect for them. And then when can you? Um, so yeah, that's the recent roundup. In part two, we are going to talk about me and Lewis on the day we become CEO of Blackburn Rovers. What are our first decisions? We'll see you after these messages. Okay, we are back with part two of the first episode back in a long while. Lewis, angel investor has invested in Blackburn. Well, Blackburn Rovers, not just Blackburn the town. They've named you as CEO. You've got full control. So he said, um, finances are limited. Not going crazy. He's not like a super investor. But you have full reign. He trusts your judgment. He trusts the decisions that you're going to make. What are your first decisions that you make at the club?
So I'm allowed to set season ticket price. I mean, okay, that's my starting point.
Marketing, pricing, advertisement, club colours, whatever you want to change.
That's my starting point. I mean, it's a big area of discussion at the moment. We've talked quite a lot about it. So for me, my first action would be making season tickets cheaper. For the Riverside, I would charge £209 for adults as like an entry level price. Let's face it, it's not as nice a place to sit as other areas of the ground. It's pretty much empty these days. We should do something to encourage people to sit in there.
Yeah.
You know, the rest of the ground, excluding the upper centre of the Jack Walker, I'd make 259, and then I'd have the Jack Walker upper as like a middle ground between the terraces and like hospitality. So it's like a bit nicer. Basically.
Yeah,
that is like the
padded seat.
Yeah, it's padded seat, and it's like the best view, I suppose, if you want to watch the game from like a tactical perspective. Because I mean that is the best area to view the game. It's just a fact. Even that would only be £13.44 per game for adults. The £309 ticket. At those prices, you can make match day tickets £15, and it'd still be good value for money for season ticket holders in all three categories. Multi-game ticket offers would be good value for money again, and I'd make every midweek game, with them all being on Sky Sports Plus now, £10, and kids for a quid as well. That's a good starting point for tickets.
Yeah.
What do you want to throw into the mix?
If I'm CEO, I'm getting rid of season tickets.
Oh, blimey. That's
I'm
wrong, isn't
abolishing
it?
season tickets. So from the day dot, all season tickets are refunded, and they are replaced by the whole city scheme of supporters memberships on direct debit, 12-month direct debit. So the most expensive hull is £34.50, which is our Jack Walker stand, which would be just over 400.
Right, okay.
I wouldn't price them at that, but I'm just saying that at Hulls. The cheapest one they have is £24 a month. It's gone up from £20 a month last season. So £24 a month, which is around like £288 a year. So that's your season ticket. I know it's paid over 12 months rather than the 9 months.
Is it just league games at Hull, or do you get cup games with the membership as well?
So this is where I would make changes. So at Hull, you get every home league game. You get attendance for like extra events that you do at the ground. You get discounted away travel, and you get a bit like your loyalty points. You get an extra bonus loyalty points. You get 10% off in the store, all that sort of stuff. So for introductory, I'm putting it at £15 a month. That gets you in the Riverside for every league home game. I'm doing a standard, which is you get every league home game in whatever area of the ground you want to sit in, apart from the Jack Walker Centre. That's going to be more expensive. So I'm going to do that at £25 a month at first, because that'll be £300 a year. That'll get you every league home game. It will get you discounted away travel. It will get you a Blues Bar membership, and it will also get you discount in the Rovers store. But if for whatever reason we get a, I don't want to say a rubbish cup tie, but if you get Carling Cup third round, Burton at home,
Yeah.
where the crowds aren't going to be that big, I might throw in like you get this with your membership here, and obviously be a premium one around £30 a month, £27.50 a month. Jack Walker Centre.
So if it's Burton, you're going to throw it in, but if it's City at home or United at home,
yeah, it just makes sense that you're not going to give that away for free. Well, you're not. You want to improve attendances, so I mean, I'm still giving it. If you've got a membership, you're still getting cheaper tickets for them cup games. But I'm not like to say City are going to have 7,000 away fans coming. I feel like that'd be daft to make tickets free. Again, they would be cheaper than what they're currently pricing full away ends at. But so yeah, the reason for doing that, people can't afford the full upfront payment in the summer, especially for one payday like we've had recently. Interest-free direct debit is paid every month. People will feel like it's more value for money because like £25 a month, that gets you your that some months could get you 4 home games.
Yeah.
Whereas it was £22 to go to the Stoke game every night.
Yeah.
So are you going to buy a membership for the month and get Stoke and potentially others one that you go to? Also, if there's games that people miss, they won't feel as bad like I'm losing out on my £430 season ticket, or well, I've been to 2 games this month, so it's worth my £25 on direct debit, even though I missed this game, kind of thing. So it's always about generating value for money for the fans. So yeah, no more season tickets. It would be a membership. But I also want to include people, and I don't know where to put these people in. So people that live abroad that pay for the Rovers TV. They obviously pay. I think they pay for memberships now to get like Rovers TV, don't they?
Yeah.
I think that a game pass is £10, but then I think they can get a membership on top of that from Rovers. They would also be included in those memberships. So if ever they were to come across to England or to Blackburn, they could also get the match tickets in that as well. To try and generate more people to do that. Not that I'm saying that people who live abroad are like, oh, I can't go and but I follow, but it will come into their head that they have to pay for flights, for accommodation, and then they also have to pay the 30, £40 ticket, whatever it is, on top of that. Whereas if they had that membership already whilst they were watching the games on TV, for the odd game that flights are cheaper or accommodation were cheaper, or they had family where they're able to stay, it would make more sense for them to come and actually watch it and not have to pay for the match ticket.
That all sounds good. I should say with the season ticket proposal that I suggested, people will be able to pay monthly, and season tickets would go on sale for the next season on the first business day of the year, the calendar year, and they'd go off sale. There'd be no phases. They go off sale 24 hours before the new season kicks off.
See,
that gives people plenty of time, and there's no silly increases with phases.
See, this is what I like about the direct debit scheme, is that if we win our first 3 games, people can still jump in November. They can jump in December. If you get a new job over Christmas, you're no longer working weekends, no longer working 2 to 10, you can jump in at any point. So from February, you can still pay £25 a month up until July, and then you start again in July for the next season, and it'll keep rolling like that. So I think it was mentioned to the current CEO, who said that people might cancel if we start doing badly. It also works the other way around. And again, it is a 12-month direct debit contract. They have to sign up for it. They have to sign up for the end of the term, which will be July, starting in August, the end of the season. So if you wanted to start in February, you would do a contract. I don't know how many months that is off the top of my head. It's quite late. 5-6 month contract. You'd sign up to there, and it would be a direct debit. But yeah, again, people would people wouldn't feel as bad still paying £25 a month and not being able to make all the games as what they do if they paid for the season ticket in the summer and something changes halfway through the year and they can't make as many games. They'll feel like not being ripped off. So I think the direct debit is definitely the way going forward, in my opinion. I mean, that's to let us know what you think of it.
No, I mean it does sound good. It's good that Hull offer that. I think. I mean, this is a point I put down in my notes because it's something that's wound me up recently. All season tickets will be sold in person with ID. That way, we won't have to pay G4S to be dormant at every home game.
What about if we couldn't get to Ewood to buy a season ticket?
How did they manage to put the internet?
But I mean, like, if they have to get to the ticket office, you know, you know what I mean? Like, people will only go if Rovers are playing.
Yeah.
So this is another thing that
it's a tough one, but the ticket checks could so easily have been avoided. Like, even if, I mean, I know there's not many, but there will be some season ticket holders who live further afield. I mean, for that you could there could definitely be a way of uploading your ID online if they made that secure. And
if you do your direct debit, do the ID checks on your bank.
I mean,
sorted it both ways. Pricing on ID. I know what you mean. The security is well, it has to stop this, doesn't it? It's putting people off going. So.
Yeah, and like, it's not right, but at the same time, it's not right that people are paying 23 quid. Really. Yeah. So it's just, yeah, it's something that never needed to happen in my view. So that's why I put that down. Next point is improving the matchday experience. The offers for getting down to Ewood early. I think recently we've seen £4.50 a pint in the fan zone. That's not an offer. That's what a pint is unfortunately now costing. I mean, Saturday 3 o'clock kickoffs. Why don't you say like 12:30 till 2:30, £2 a pint? You know, I'd rather stand in the fan zone than drink flat beer in Fox and Arms, because let's face it, it's always flat. At £5.50 a pint, you know, why not? Yeah, you wouldn't even have to do it like every home game, because like people, like if you advertised it well, like during the week, it's like, oh, come down, always like £2 a pint, you get down there, we'll meet you there, you know.
Yeah.
So that's the first point with that, and then I've got half-time entertainment. I think we've like touched on this briefly, and you mentioned it to Wygate as well, about the dartboard idea. It's been the same for years, and it's boring. It's been
non-existent. I think it's
half-time draw.
The next fixture is that's got now.
Half-time draw, and that's your lot, really.
Yeah.
There was like
to get someone semi-famous to come out who's from Blackburn.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, like a former player or a former staff member, yeah, that's like fair enough. That's decent. But then sometimes they'll get, I remember they had a boxer on who had his first professional fight. He's from Whalley Range, like, and he's done well for himself, but I don't know who he is. I
mean, there was a time. I mean, I was lucky enough that I was one of the primary school children to take the penalties like on the pitch in the middle. But even now they like move that off to the side. It doesn't really get any like exposure.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, that was good when it was like new and fresh. It was something different. You know, it was, and obviously it's like a great experience for the kids that do it. But yeah, there needs to be. I mean, I think the dartboard idea, we just like get two fans out of the crowd. If you get it in the centre circle doing a season, how many season tickets are you actually going to give away?
One a season. If you're lucky, if you're terribly unlucky, with one a season.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just Yeah. Okay, so season tickets, match day experience talked about. A big one for me is rebuilding the relationship between Blackburn Rovers and Blackburn Council. There doesn't feel like there's a connection between the town and the club anymore. And I don't know whether that's because obviously living at Guy now, we're quite out of the way. We don't really see in terms of much of advertisement. But when I go into the town centre, there isn't really anything Blackburn Rovers in there.
No.
And I don't. I know we used to have the Rovers store back once upon a time, which would be great to have again. And again, I think it's something that Blackburn Council should do. We should be proud of the team that we've got. Don't use it, lose it, kind of thing. But the Rover store should be like pride of place in the town centre, if not at least a stall where people don't have to go to Ewood to have things like sorted out. If they've got issues with season ticket, they need a reprint, or they've lost the ticket, whatever. They don't have to go down to Ewood. They can just, like, whilst they're in town, whilst they're at work on a lunch hour, they can go and pick up tickets for the next game, that kind of thing. But also, we spoke about like the park and ride quite a lot on the podcast. We have got the massive car park at Blackburn View Cinema, which is, I think, is ideal for a park and ride. For people getting off the train, wherever they come from, away fans especially. Because we do pay a lot in policing. I think we paid last season. We paid just as much as what Burnley did in the Premier League. Now, that's not sustainable for a Championship club. We're not having as big of clubs coming to Ewood as what they were in the Prem. Probably having like bigger attendances just because the away end's bigger, but we have to manage that better. And getting the police to escort 1,000 Leeds fans from Portsmouth in town down Bolton Road isn't beneficial. So if we had buses waiting for them at on that car park, they get off the train, they're straight on the bus, and they just get bussed in and out to Furness all day. Like, they don't go in the town centre whatsoever. We obviously pay for the buses, but I think that's a lot better than paying for police.
It must be a lot cheaper than the escorts.
Yeah, definitely. Again, that can happen for Rovers fans. We've got the ice rink car park. We've got where else could we park? Whitebeck Industrial Estate. Like, come off the motorway there, park there, get the bus straight down to Ewood, and just have buses running back all more or less all day. You can do it from 11 o'clock all the way up to kick off, and it'd just be a better experience. No one would be sat on Bolton Road for an hour after the game. No one would be having to wait for like the away fans to disappear and coaches and stuff. It'd just be a lot smoother, and it'd be easy for people to get home after the game. If you obviously like the bus lane now at Ewood's great, you could just get them coming out the Blackburn end, jumping on a bus, bang, done. They're in town before you even seen an away fan. Just keep doing that, just flood them out. If obviously they want to go home, don't kick them out in case they want to go to the Blues bar and whatnot. But yeah, match days like on a Tuesday where we're getting home at like 10, 10:30. Like, some of the people that live further afield and that aren't getting home till near midnight, they might want to save that extra half an hour where they could be waiting in traffic or waiting on the car park to get off. If we're back at the view in 10 minutes and driving off straight onto motorway without having that. So
yeah, I mean, it's a point that I made. Ewood feels like cut off from the rest of the town, really, because obviously it's not the town centre. It's a fortune to actually park at the ground. It takes forever to get in and out. Parking around the ground is hard work as well. And like the residents of like Oakdale have been like kicking off recently, and there's been like a big thing made of that because people have been parking on the estate. I mean, I put here. This is like a pipe dream, but like this is like so far out of like the realms of.
You're CEO now. You can achieve this.
This is like beyond a club CEO, and this couldn't even get clipped because it's like that, like that ridiculous. But like bringing trams back, that's the only way you're gonna like connect Ewood to the rest of the town.
The train line is still there.
That's going to take years, even if there was the money to do it, which obviously brings it over, isn't.
I mean, the train line is still there. The train station, I don't know if it's still there or not, but take much to knock a train station up for us to
Mm.
stop and just get off and walk to Ewood, like behind Riverside. Like it goes that the train goes that way anyway, but again, it's just getting the trains in between the normal trains that run on that line and doing it. So yeah, the trams back is a good one, but mm, again, but then again, that comes with the relationship between the council or Rovers, or as the CEO, would you be willing to let the owner invest?
You need,
Like the town and the club both need to invest because when the club's doing well, the town's going to do well, and vice versa. Like I
yeah,
had there a big conversation about atmospheres in the Premier League and atmospheres in football in general recently, and and people were saying like the problem is that people. It used to be that you were proud of your area, and away fans were like coming into your area and taking the piss a bit. So it was like a pride of your area. Like, no, you're not doing that, and that's why the atmosphere was always lifted.
yeah,
Where I feel like at Rovers, because I mean, the towns are shit small, and I'm sorry to everyone that like obviously like us is from Blackburn and lives in Blackburn and has to put up with it, but it's at the minute it's not a nice area.
no.
So if you haven't got pride in your town, it's hard to have pride for your football club at the same time. And I think again this goes back to pricing and stuff. A lot of people who live in Blackburn Town Centre will not be able to afford to go to Blackburn Rovers games. I think a lot of the people that we know all live further afield.
Mm.
Like all live out of the town.
I mean the tram thing is like something that would take an owner like the owners at City have,
Yeah,
who are willing to invest. I mean, you only have to look at what they've done around the Etihad with the the campus and the training facilities and everything else. I mean, they're redeveloping the ground now, aren't they?
yeah.
But
116 charges.
I mean, we yeah, we should be so lucky in that department.
Yeah.
Um, safe standing. I mean, we have to talk about it at some point in this because
Safe stand is as soon as the email comes through to confirm I've got the job, I'm literally going in and turning chairs off. I'm doing it myself. Suits on, hard hat on top, boots on my feet. I'm ripping chairs out because one, I don't fit in them. So it made my experience better. But again, I think it make everyone's experience better. So
it's something that whilst I have some understanding, sympathy with the whole FFP argument. No, I do get it, and I understand the place people are coming from when they argue that, because they're thinking about the club's finances. But the safe standing is something that would have no impact or effect on that,
yeah,
and it's something that would improve the club's facilities, something that would improve the atmosphere at Ewood, something that Venky's could do, even as like a gesture, just to show that
they are willing to invest.
they care,
Yeah,
they're interested.
yeah. But yeah,
But
my angel investors invested.
we're
We're doing safe standing.
doing it, and we're doing it properly.
Yeah, it's state of the art safe standing. One last change for me, and again, there's lots of changes I would make, but one I've made a note of is that all Blackburn Rovers players in the squad stay in a hotel the night before games. That includes the Saturday game. So Friday night they drive to Duncan House or Hilton at Whitebirk. They all stay in there the night before, and they all get a coach from that local hotel, whichever one it may be, to the ground the day of the game. There has to be something fundamentally wrong. One with midweek games.
Yeah,
There's obviously an issue there. So again, they drive over Monday night. They stay over in the same hotel. They do shape in the morning, and then they get a coach to the game. No one is driving to Ewood the day of the game. And again, they get coached out afterwards and then drive back from the hotel. If they want to drive back home, they can stay over again if they want. But I think it's obviously been implemented as a cost cutting thing that we travel on the day, which was why such a big deal was made of leasing that bus for away games. Um, it's obviously not been a good thing for us. I think Cardiff, we went. Did we go down the Friday night and stay over? I think they did because people were in
Yeah, I
the car
think
the same
they.
hotels and weren't they?
Yeah,
Same for the Plymouth game, people in the same hotels and there. And although we got beat, it was an okay performance
mm.
considering the times that we've gone down on the bus the day of. So yeah, I think that's a massive change. The no win midweek in 11 months is diabolical,
Yeah, it's terrible.
and the fact that it's not been highlighted or it's not been changed in that 11 months. Surely after 6 months, surely after 3 months, you're like, come on, lads, what are we doing?
Yeah.
After 6 months, you'd have been like, come on. I know, I can understand, I can't understand because again, I would implement it for every game that they stay up the night before. I can understand it for longer away games midweek, but not winning games at home midweek is not acceptable. Yeah, they were staying over, they were having the meals together, they were doing shave in the morning, getting the course to Ewood at like 4 o'clock, have another meal, have another stretch, whatever they do, and then get ready for the game. But I'm not having people driving in at 5, 6 o'clock, being stressed out for an hour and a half drive from where they live, and then having to get ready for a football game because it's clearly distracting them and causing a negative impact on the performance and therefore results. Any other last things that you do as CEO?
This is quite a simple one, really. I can't believe this is.
Red and black away kit.
No, I can't believe this is something we're bringing up in this. Order more kits.
Yeah.
You know, it's currently 6 weeks until Christmas. And unless you're a size small, which no one is in a football kit, you, you can't get a home shirt. You can't get out a home shirt. I mean, you can't get the third shirt at all. Like, does it exist on the website?
But the fact that I reckon they told Andy Wyman to do that thing like on the back of his shirt, the advertisement like, whose name should I get on the back of my shirt, Andy? It was like his celebration pointing at his name and a link. It's like, that's the only shirt you. Like, are the players going to run out at some point? That's what I worry about. If someone gets a ripped shirt, are we going to run out? Or have we got enough for the players for the season?
If you think you've ordered enough, double it.
Like, if someone going to celebrate, if someone going to celebrate a win, throw it into the crowd, and then be chasing them down the corridor.
Yeah, whoa.
Come here, Shay.
That's just the cameras out there.
We've got plenty of work, so
it's you can always, we said it a few times, you can always flog them in March or April if you have got any left. Which this season, I don't think, even if you did double the order, you would have any left. Because like I said, the third shirt is selling like I don't think any kit has before. The home shirt, I mean, all three are doing well. The home shirt sold a lot. Christmas is coming up.
Well, if you've not sold them by April, why don't you, like, and especially the kids' why don't you just go to the children's ward at Blackburn Hospital, not Burnley Hospital, the Love Hospital, and just give them away?
I mean, you can do it better than shits and gigs.
But like, but that's like could be a dream come true for them kids. Like,
yeah,
just donate them. People would love that. And yeah, we're getting into things that we spoke about again. I'm sorry. Okay, so that's everything that we would do on our first day as CEO. Now, part 3, coming up after the break, we are going to ask why are these things not being done. That coming up right after these ads. Welcome back to Kidder Street Noise. Some more adverts there for you. And now in part 3, so we've discussed everything that we would do. Now we're going to ask why are these things not being done, or why do we think that they're not being done?
That's a big question. I think those currently in positions of power and influence at the club don't really like risk.
Yeah.
They're quite safe, comfortable. Yeah, they are unwilling to try new things.
I mean,
That's how I feel. That's the general answer to the question, I think.
I mean, in terms of their own performance, they're in very good positions, aren't they? Six-figure salaries, not really any pressure. Teams meeting with the owners once every 6 months, living dream really. Like no critic, can't any criticism from any local journalists or anyone who just get booted out. Like, you have to do a fans forum every now and again where they ask you why it's Pepsi instead of Coke at Blues Boys.
Yeah,
That's
the fans forum
the real
is.
tough questions.
I mean, the fans forum is something that can be talked about in terms of why. I, I'm nothing against anyone that's on there, but maybe it's the minutes that are edited to make them look the way that makes me feel the way I do
Yeah.
about the fans forum. But it's so soft, isn't it? It's so. I mean, asking about what's on draft for the Blues sport.
What other like inches for a strong ball? I mean, that for me, the fans forum will continue now, CEO, but communication between the club and media, I would have to hire a head of communication. That he would be the only person that speaks to the media, like because and like the club captain and head of media would be the only two that speak. No one else.
But not in the manager.
No, the manager.
What the manager would do no press.
Well, he'd have to do his like actual FA stuff. They have to do is it one post match and one pre match
Yeah.
at least.
I was going to say something, but I won't.
But not that Rovers TV and like speak. No, you're not doing any of that. Just captain, head of meeting, head of communication. I'm what Rudy Gusted said last week is the most disgusting thing anyone's ever said about.
Oh, we haven't talked about it.
I know we haven't. We've tried to be positive. We ended up being negative quite a lot. But if anyone hasn't seen it yet, go back and watch the interview. And it might be lost in translation. I don't know. But what he said about Rovers fans is the most disgusting thing I've ever heard from someone who's in a position of power at Rovers. And he should have been sacked for saying it. But I'm trying my best not to get angry this week and have an actual discussion. So
yeah, basically calling the supporters idiots in the nicest way possible.
Yeah. So yeah, that captain and head of communications would be a big change. But again, those people, they're in great positions of power. Will the owners know even said things that he said? Probably not. Will he care even if he get told what he said? Probably not. Will it be brought up at the fans forum if he attends? Probably not. Can you speak to us in a language that we understand, Rudy? Is that okay? Can you just answer that question in a language that we understand? Tit. Do you think the fans are viewed as more of a problem at the club?
I think they're seen as a bit of a threat still, and that goes back to the initial days of the protests when Venky's first came in.
Yeah.
That's
our last big attendance. It was a small protest.
Yeah. I mean that's how there's definitely frostiness between the club and the fans, and that's never really. But maybe the League One season, but I mean, good performance on the pitch is always gonna.
Yeah.
You're always gonna get a paper over that temporarily. Yeah, that's how I feel. There's a frostiness, and I do think the fans are seen as a bit of a threat to the status quo of the club.
Yeah, definitely. I put here that stagnation, I don't know if that's even a word, but staying stagnant is best for long term business. And what I mean by that is that rather than risk investing to try and get promoted and obviously being hindered by financial fair play, but then risk relegation, I feel like at the minute we feel like we'll do enough to stay in the championship, and that is okay. and they're not.
Which is it's not really.
No, it's not, because if you're staying still in sport, you're moving backwards. But I feel like their opinion is, because I mean, it's happened to some clubs that have been promoted to the Premier League and that losing every week and coming back down, like we've seen with Luton, is can almost like change a club culture, and it's almost hard to bounce back from a relegation straight away.
Yeah, but I think if Rovers were to go and stayed up first season, I think everyone would be shocked. Like, I mean, you'd almost kind of like accept the first time you go up. I think you almost you almost come to terms with relegation straight away because it's about money in it.
Parachute payments.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think they believe that staying stagnant is best for long-term business. What will happen if the changes that we've mentioned aren't made? If we carry on the trajectory that we're in now,
I think the club will just kind of go through the motions and just what's the word? Coast.
Is course not a good thing?
I'd say cruise is a good thing. Course is
out of control.
Yeah, course kind of like lacks control and direction really. Yeah, I think I'm just going to continue to go through probably mid-table, maybe drop down to League One. This is like long term. We're talking like football manager, like trajectory of like 50 years. You know, like maybe like drop down to League One for the season, come back up, and
just kind of. I think if it happened again,
linger.
I don't think we could come back up if it happened again.
Maybe not straight away, but
I think the current path is death by 1,000 cuts, isn't it?
Yeah.
Eventually, we're going to run out of things to sell. The academy products aren't as good as they once were.
No.
Half of Brockwell's gone. We can't possibly rent any more services out of the club to another company. Eventually, we will run out of things to sell, and we'll just be Blackburn Rovers in name and nothing else.
Jeez, that's
bad, that's the end of the
game. Alright, thanks for watching.
Remember, enjoy yourselves. See you next week. Yeah, eventually we'll run out of things to sell, and eventually we'll have to invest to stay in the Championship. But by that point, will they still be willing to? Will they still be here? Find out on Wednesday. When's the court date this week?
I forgot about that. It's coming around again. It comes around quick. It comes around quicker each time.
These court days, they sneak up on you.
Yeah.
What was my last point? Oh, relegation administration. So yeah, all the positive stuff. So yeah, that's what me and Lewis would do if we were CEO. Let us know on Twitter, on YouTube, on the BRFCS forum, the things that you would do to change the trajectory of the club if you were named as CEO of Blackburn Rovers Football Club. Okay. I don't know how long we've been recording for.
It's felt quite a while, and it's 20 past 8 at the time start. It's like about an hour.
Yeah, it's been an hour. I think we covered the majority of everything we want to speak about in terms of the actual topic of the episode. Any final notes from you? We call it. It's international break, isn't it? We can't even look forward to the next game. Boring.
What's the next? Like Portugal.
Yeah.
So even got Greece away and Ireland at home. So get these Nations League games out of the way, and then we've got Tommy Tuchel.
Yeah, United I'm in United will be changing fortunes. I'm sure they'll do superb second half of the season.
Still got a terrible team, but
yeah. I'm sure we're getting booed off pitch along, but yeah. So that's us done for the episode. I'm sure we'll try and not leave it as long as we did for this episode for the next one. yeah, we'll try and think of another topic. I enjoyed this rather than just speaking about Dolan doing step overs and Hedges and Ryan Hedges, Ryan Hedges full stop. Actually, having a topic to speak about is quite good, so we'll try and think of a different one. Um, well, let us know what you want to hear us talk about. If you say nothing, we're just going to ignore you. Right, yeah. See you. See you in a bit.
Yeah, see you in a bit.